Chapter 72. After this law, I beheld another law, of an inferior luminary, the name of which is the moon, and the orb of which is as the orb of heaven. Its chariot, which it secretly ascends, the wind blows, and light is given to it by measure. Every month, at its exit and entrance, it becomes changed, and its periods are as the periods of the sun, and when in like manner its light is to exist, its light is the seventh portion from the light of the sun. Thus it rises, and at its commencement, towards the east, goes forth for 30 days. At that time it appears, and becomes to you, the beginning of the months. 30 days it is with the sun, in the gate, from which the sun goes forth. Half of it is in extent 7 portions, 1/2, and the whole of its orb is void of light, except a 7th portion, out of the 14 portions of its light. And in a day, it receives a 7th portion, or half that portion, of its light. Its light is by sevens, by 1 portion, and by the half of a portion. It sets with the sun. And when the sun rises, the moon rises with it, receiving half a portion of light. On that night, when it commences its period, previously to the day of the month, the moon sets with the sun. And on that night, it is dark in its 14 portions, that is, in each half, but it rises on that day, with 1/7 portion, precisely, and in its progress, declines from the rising of the sun. During the remainder of its period, its light increases to 14 portions. Chapter 73. Then I saw another progress and regulation, which he effected in the law of the moon, the progress of the moons, and everything relating to them. Uriel showed me the holy angel, who conducted them all. Their stations I wrote down, as he showed them to me. I wrote down their months, as they occur, and the appearance of their light, until it is completed, in 15 days. In each of its 7 portions, it completes all its light, at rising and at setting. On stated months, it changes its settings, and on stated months, it makes its progress through each gate. In 2 gates the moon sets with the sun, in those 2 gates, which are in the midst, in the 3rd and 4th gate. From the 3rd gate, it goes forth for 7 days, and makes its circuit. Again it returns to the gate, whence the sun goes forth, and in that, completes the whole of its light. Then it declines from the sun, and enters in 8 days, into the 6th gate, and returns in 7 days, to the 3rd gate, from which the sun goes forth. When the sun proceeds to the 4th gate, the moon goes forth for 7 days, until it passes from the 5th gate. Again it returns in 7 days to the 4th gate, and completing all its light, declines, and passes on by the 1st gate in 8 days, and returns in 7 days to the 4th gate, from which the sun goes forth. Thus I beheld their stations, as according to the fixed order of the months, the sun rises and sets. At those times, there is an excess of 30 days belonging to the sun. In 5 years, all the days belonging to each year of the 5 years, when completed, amount to 364 days. And to the sun and stars, belong 6 days in each of the 5 years, thus 30 days belong to them. So that the moon has 30 days less than the sun and stars. The moon brings on all the years exactly, that their stations may come, neither 2 forwards, nor 2 backwards, a single day, but that the years may be changed, with correct precision, in 364 days. In 3 years, the days are 1,092. In 5 years, they are 1,820, and in 8 years, 2,912 days. To the moon alone belong in 3 years 1,062 days. In 5 years it has 50 days less than the sun, for an addition being made to the 1,062 days. In 5 years, there are 1,770 days, and the days of the moon in 8 years are 2,832 days. For its days in 8 years are less than those of the sun by 80 days, which 80 days are its diminution in 8 years. The year then becomes truly complete, according to the station of the moons, and the station of the sun, which rise in the different gates, which rise and set in them, for 30 days. Chapter 74. These are the leaders of the chiefs of the thousands, those which preside over all creation, and over all the stars, with the 4 days, which are added, and never separated, from the place allotted them, according to the complete computation of the year. And these serve for days, which are not computed in the computation of the year. Respecting them, men greatly for these luminaries truly serve in the mansion of the world, 1 day in the 1st gate, 1 in the 3rd gate, 1 in the 4th, and 1 in the 6th gate. And the harmony of the world becomes complete every 364th state of it, for the signs, the seasons, and the years, and the days. Uriel showed me the angel whom the God of glory appointed over all the luminaries of heaven in heaven, and in the world, that they might rule in the face of the sky, and appearing over the earth, become conductors of the days and nights, the sun, the moon, the stars, and all the ministers of heaven, which make their circuit, with all the chariots of heaven. Thus Uriel showed me 12 gates open, for the circuit of the chariots of the sun in heaven, from which the rays of the sun shoot forth. From these proceed heat over the earth, when they are opened. In their stated seasons, they are for the winds, and the spirit of the dew, when in their seasons, they are opened in heaven, at its extremities. 12 gates I beheld in heaven, at the extremities of the earth, through which the sun, moon, and stars, and all the works of heaven, proceed at their rising and setting. Many windows also are open on the right and on the left. 1 window at a certain season grows extremely hot, so also are their gates, from which the stars go forth, as they are commanded, and in which they sit according to their number. I saw likewise the chariots of heaven running in the world above, to those gates, in which the stars turn, which never set. 1 of these is greater than all, which goes round the whole world. Chapter 75. And at the extremities of the earth I beheld 12 gates open, for all the winds, from which they proceed, and blow over the earth. 3 of them are open, in the front of heaven, 3 in the west, 3 on the right side of heaven, and 3 on the left. The first 3 are those which are towards the east, 3 are towards the north, 3 behind, those which are upon the left, towards the south, and 3 on the west. From 4 of them proceed winds of blessing and of health, and from 8 proceed winds of punishment, when they are sent to destroy the earth, and the heaven above it, all its inhabitants, and all which are in the waters, or on dry land. The first of these winds proceeds from the gate, termed the eastern, through the first gate on the east, which inclines southwards. From this goes forth destruction, drought, heat, and perdition. From the second gate, the middle one, proceeds equity. There issue from it rain, fruitfulness, health, and dew. And from the third gate northwards proceed cold and drought. After these proceed the south wind through 3 principal gates. Through their first gate, which inclines eastwards, proceeds a hot wind. But from the middle gate proceed grateful odor, dew, rain, health, and life. From the third gate, which is westwards, proceed dew, rain, blight, and destruction. After these are the winds to the north, which is called the sea. They proceed from 3 gates. The first gate is that which is on the east, inclining southwards. From this proceed dew, rain, blight, and destruction. From the middle, direct gate, proceed rain, dew, life, and health. And from the third gate, which is westwards, inclining towards the south, proceed mist, frost, snow, rain, dew, and blight. After these in the fourth quarter are the winds to the west. From the first gate, inclining northwards, proceed dew, rain, frost, cold, snow, and chill. From the middle gate, proceed rain, health, and blessing. And from the last gate, which is southwards, proceed drought, destruction, scorching, and perdition. The account of the 12 gates of the 4 quarters of heaven is ended. All their laws, all their infliction of punishment, and the health produced by them, have I explained to thee, my son Massasaela.